This is not a game, not this time around. People get that. And when you go to these early states, they're not asking. You go to Iowa, I mean, they're not asking about parochial backyard concerns. They're asking the same kinds of questions that people in Brooklyn are asking. They want to know about the role of the U.S. in the world. They want to know how we're going to stitch the American fabric back together. These are deep, searching questions, and as awful as a time as this is politically, if nothing else, I think it's got the capacity to bring out the best in us, because we're asking not just day-to-day questions, we're asking fundamental questions, and now is a time for fundamental questions.
I would say I will never forget that mom we met in Des Moines. One of the first times we went there for a rally. 1,600 people, Peter and I stayed until we shook every hand, took every selfie, and the sun had gone down. It had been a couple hours, and just when you're getting tired and you're ready to go home, this mom sort of elbowed her way up to the front of the rope line and had tears in her eyes, and her voice was trembling. And she grabbed me by the shoulders and she said, I need you to know that my daughter opened up to me that she was going to take her life. And then she saw you and your husband, and you saved her. You're the reason that she's here. She has hope again. And when think about how, one, we are standing on the shoulders of giants, and the ability to be here on the stage and in front of all of you is because of the Black trans women who stood up for us 50 years ago, who propelled us to this moment. I think about how proud they would be to know that there is this day where a young girl in Iowa is holding out hope and is staying on this earth because she sees herself finally represented in American politics at the national level. And that's also in part because of all the people in this room. I mean, when we come out, we do tremendous things for other people. And when the chips are down and when we have a hard week and it feels like you don't want to do anything and you'd rather run back home, I think about that mom in Iowa and that daughter and what we are all doing together as a community to literally save lives. Here's a good one for a mayor. What's the best way the federal government can help cities and towns invest in infrastructure? Ooh. Look at the eyes light up. Sewers. Streets.
All right, let's talk about wastewater.
Good night, everybody. Thank you, Simon.
Now, here's the thing. All right, I won't take you into the details of my views on wastewater modernization, but what I will say is this is part of what I mean when I talk about freedom being at stake, that there's a lot more to freedom than just cutting a regulation on a bank somewhere. That we don't have freedom if we don't have infrastructure. The fact that you got up in the morning, I hope, did not have to think about where you could get a glass of clean, safe drinking water. The fact that you had the opportunity to assume that the water coming out of your tap was safe meant that whatever it is you were thinking about when you had your first sip of water today, it was something a little closer to what matters to you in life. And that's what it means to have good water and good roads and all the basics. We in cities worry about these things, trash pickup, animal control. We worry about it so that other people don't have to. That's the foundation on which everything else rests. It's not sexy, it's not glamorous, and even within infrastructure. I think that, there's a lot to be said for bullet trains and airports, and we care about that. There's also a lot to be said for what's underground. So the best thing the federal government could do for urban infrastructure is properly fund urban infrastructure. And we create a lot of jobs while we're at
it. All right. We're going to end this evening with all these folks the way you and I end our day. And I encourage you to do this with your loved one.